Don't adjust your television sets. 'Tis I, old buddy Ben, who is now the con guy. LA Comic-Con invaded the Los Angeles Convention Center this weekend, and we were there with over 123,000 other fans of the comic book convention circuit. And we'll show you all that we did, bought, and saw in this week's episode of The Con Guy.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movie. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's The Con Guy, Comic Con Show.
Hey, everybody! I just have my producer in my ear screaming, live!
Start talking!
I'm just staring into the camera. Hey, everybody! I'm hosting the show this week. Not because Jim's not here, because he's directly to my left. Well, two people to my left.
I'm in the vacation seat.
He's in the vacation seat because Jim and Luke were getting drunk all weekend.
Not far off the mark there.
Not far off the mark. They paid a visit to wine country. Welcome to the Con Guy Show, everybody. We're so excited to have you joining us this week. I'm so excited and thrilled to be hosting. We've got some awesome topics to cover. To my direct left is our special guest of the evening, Ms. Amanda Yollin. Thank you for being here, Amanda.
Thank you for having me again.
Can you tell us a little bit about why you're here tonight?
I'm here to talk about all things LA Comic-Con.
All things LA Comic-Con. And what is your official position with the convention?
I am the manager of operations.
Manager of operations for LA Comic-Con. Ooh.
This is a big deal to have Amanda here.
And to her left is the traditional con guy, our mascot himself,
Mr. James
Jim
D. Fry. No, Jim for short.
Jim Fry, James D. Fry,
And
if
I
he's
am-
the captain of a starship.
And I am very short. Anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in this week, and I'm so excited to be the co-pilot this week instead of the pilot.
Yeah, and then she's been on the couch, here on the couch with the conguy.com.
I'm still getting used to this. I got to introduce everybody now. I usually just sit over there and make wisecracks the whole time. First order of business today, everybody. Star Wars Episode 9 trailer just dropped during Monday Night Football tonight. We're probably close to one of the first podcasts that might be talking about this. Certainly not the last. What did everybody think of the trailer that dropped?
I cried a little bit.
I cried a lot.
I tried really hard to hold it back because it's hard to see through glasses when you're crying.
Right? How about you, Luke?
I didn't cry, but I saw a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool shots, and Lando was pretty badass to see there.
Lando, it was awesome to see Lando. That line from C-3PO when he
Yeah.
says, "I'm taking one last look at
That's
my
when
friends."
that's when Jim started
I
crying.
lost it. I
That's
just
where I
lost
started
it.
too.
I couldn't keep it, and then Luke and Leia at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and then
Luke says the Force will be with you. Leia says always.
What
Right?
about in the booth?
And in the booth, Ryan, our producer, what do you think?
Oh my goodness. So, reaction, by the way, me and Vito Scully reacted to the trailer on the Popcorn Talk Network so that you can check that out. I couldn't process it all the first time I saw it. There's too much going on. My brain was just kind of frying. But that line that C-3PO said ripped my heart out. Also, did you see the throne room that looked like it was underwater of
Yep.
the Emperor? Oh my goodness.
I don't know what that
Yeah, that's the Emperor's. That's got to be the Emperor's throne. I mean, the Death Star's half underwater,
Yeah.
and then there's that scene, and you see Rey and Kylo, and they're standing in the room from the Death Star that Luke and Vader lightsaber battled in front of the Emperor because the iconic window is in the background.
Yeah, the window was there. Yeah.
And then my biggest thing, I'm an OTOG. That's what I call myself. I'm an original trilogy guy, and I love all three of the original trilogy movies. Personally, my favorite is Empire Strikes Back, but I love Return of the Jedi and A New Hope. I love all my children equally, and so I love Return of the Jedi, Emperor Palpatine. And we saw him a little bit. First, we heard his voice, and then you saw like the side of his hood, his cloak, yeah. And it looked like he was in some sort of giant machine or something. Maybe backing Rey up there. It's like the second from the last scene in the trailer. I don't know. Do we have this visual up right now?
Yeah, that's what we're watching right now.
I'm trying to pull it up real quick.
What was that with the shattering?
I don't know.
I remember it looked like almost like a Darth Vader or something.
It almost, almost.
I did watch
Here
it.
we go.
So
Yeah.
that's it. So that's definitely got to be Emperor
Yes, has to
Palpatine,
be.
but he's sitting in some sort of mechanical,
And he's gonna
like
Just
the thing that
cyborg?
Ripley is in and Aliens. I don't know what that is.
I think we're
but-
gonna go right through the whole thing here, Ryan.
Yeah, we can totally do that.
Let's
We
do it.
can go frame by frame.
Well, no,
we don't need to do that.
We've
but,
got a 6-hour show.
Okay,
Right?
what do you think that is? Okay, whose helmet did she just drop, and why is it such a big deal?
Well, this is how all 3 of the final trailers have started for the new trilogy.
I think she dropped Princess Leia's trailer from when she first met the Ewoks.
Her helmet. Oh, so you're
her
saying they're
helmet.
on Endor,
Yeah.
the sanctuary
I
moon.
thought,
I
I
meant
thought
the-
it was Endor too.
I thought it was Endor, and it looked like the helmet that Leia was wearing when she fell off. Remember?
That's
She
possible. Yeah.
Never got her helmet back.
Oh, that's interesting. I
Although,
didn't even think of that.
what would be the reasoning for going back to Endor?
Nobody knows. No. What would it be for real?
Maybe that's where the Death Star ended up because it did blow up over Endor.
Oh, that's right.
And maybe there's a vast ocean on Endor.
The other side.
On the other side of it. I don't know. The sanctuary moon.
But I think
So where do you think this is?
she's standing on the remains of the Death Star.
This looks like Death Star
Rubble, yeah.
wreckage, I would
'Cause
imagine.
That's one of the big cannons that we see right there behind her that was shooting at the X-Wings as they flew over the Death Star. She's standing on the face of the Death Star.
Or what's
Yeah.
left of it?
Or what's left of
Perhaps.
it. As it floats in.
But there's also that shot of the lightning with the Star Destroyer coming out of the water. That's pretty sick.
Kylo coming out.
There's the
There's
throne.
the throne. That's the most amazing thing
That's
right there.
crazy awesome.
Talk about this is really Game of Thrones now.
Right.
Yeah, but the whole last season of Game of Thrones was all pandering, so I'm hoping that they're not going in that direction.
Yeah, and I think the thing is that's it. That's what I'm talking about with the Star Destroyer coming out of the water. Like, holy moly!
I know this is so
that's-
cool.
That's pretty awesome.
I can't wait.
And I enjoyed.
And where did all these rebel ships come from?
Right.
They have gone around the galaxy and have put together that ragtag team of
Right. Well, and one of the things that people are
Resistance
talking
fighters.
about online right now is that in that scene with all the ships and then the Falcon comes down in the foreground, one of the ships is the Ghost from the Star Wars Rebels TV series.
Yes. The Ghost was actually featured in the first episode
It was
7.
It's in Rogue One.
Oh, I'm
but
sorry,
it's in
sorry,
Rogue
sorry.
One,
Rogue
yeah,
One,
yeah.
Rogue
Here.
One, yeah.
Yeah.
Where the mouse is.
Oh
That's
yeah,
it.
that is the Ghost.
Wow.
Kind of
Really
reminds me of
awesome.
that
30
scene
years
at the end
after
of
the fact.
Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like all the Ravagers.
Yeah.
It's all the
Oh, yeah.
Resistance coming together.
It's kind of cool though if that's what's happening. Oh,
This is a new character we have that was unveiled on Force Friday.
was that his name's
It's like Frithik or
Frick?
Frick?
Frick. It's Frick. And there's Frick and Bulu. Frick and Bolo. Something
so
like
cool.
that.
And it looks like he's getting his memories back here, right? Like they're gonna go
Oh,
maybe
baby.
pre.
Or are they taking them away? Because
New Hope
he
era?
says I'm
Yeah,
about.
'cause his eyes turn red in the other trailer.
But didn't he say I'm finally, or this is the last time I'm going to see my
Taking one
friends or
one last
something?
look at my friends. I
That's
believe
the
was
most-
line.
I guess I got
but-
chills you saying
Because
that.
that's what we're getting in this movie. This is one last look at our friends.
That killed me too.
You know? Yeah.
Just anything with Leia, like, I can't.
She had her voice was the last thing we heard in the
Hello.
trailer too.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Happy birthday to Carrie Fisher.
Oh, was
them riding on these horse things,
That was
that's
so
sick.
epic.
That's
So
kind of
epic.
sick
I
looking.
love that so much.
Like,
They're
are they
gonna
gonna
do-
have an endgame level scene at the end where it's just this giant like battle? you
They
think?
better. This is the end of the Star Wars
Yeah.
saga, you know.
I feel like there's going to be a Fantastic Beasts, but it's all going to be like Star Wars creatures.
And like Luke said, where are they? This shot of them in a white room, and what are they destroying right there? That looks like
It looks
Bespin.
like a Darth Vader.
Doesn't it look like Cloud
costume.
City right there? That is Cloud City.
Oh, that kind of does look like
Because
Bespin.
see the
then the helmet.
little ovals on both
Yeah.
sides, the
Yeah.
oval design. That's the Cloud City design.
Kind of looks like Kylo's helmet coming off. But
Yeah,
it's hard
that
to
too.
tell.
But he's also wearing his helmet. It could be a Knight of Ren
Oh, or it's a statue of
or a
Darth Vader.
statue.
Maybe just
Glad he's
Sith
wearing his helmet.
So that makes sense that they go back to Cloud City to get Lando.
Maybe. Although
be a lot of
Cloud
traveling in
City
this
was
one.
taken over by the Empire.
I literally
This is
laughed
true.
when I saw him all like soaked in emo looking. I'm like, oh gosh.
Oh,
Like,
Kylo.
I
coming
like
out
when
of
he
the
has
water.
his mask on because he just. I like the actor, but he just
super
seems
emo.
too emo. You know, like in
I
the,
This
think
is
that's
it.
the point.
This is right here where you hear Luke say, "Remember, the Force will be," and then Leia with you.
Wait, can you guys cry for us live right now?
No.
Oh, I just
I have
might-
far too much makeup on.
How incredible was the music in this trailer?
It's so
I think
lush.
that was part of what got me emotionally.
That
was
was,
the
yeah, the
music.
big part, like montage at the end with
Oh,
like
yeah.
a lot of music and flashes of things.
It's really special. I mean, Star Wars trailers, I feel like people just don't. it's an event. It's Monday Night Football. What other movie does this? Even Avengers, they didn't do that during Monday Night Football.
No.
Like, it was Super Bowl maybe, but Star Wars can take over a whole night. It's incredible. It's
But
so
you know what?
exciting.
Whereas Avengers was a great thing of the last 10 years, and I'm one of the biggest fans. Star Wars is something from a couple of generations. It's 42 years in the making. This film is,
Right.
and it's the end. It's the end of a saga of 9 films, and just to let everybody know, me and Luke, we did a reaction video when we first saw it tonight. Cried my eyes out. Katie's doing one. I know that Ryan, you and Vito did one, so we're going to put all these together and put them on the Con Guy
That'd be
website
awesome.
at theconguy.com to show these. Really excited.
I didn't because I had makeup on.
Right.
How ballsy
I
is
didn't
it?
cry the first time I watched it because I think, like Ryan said, I was just processing everything. I watched it a second time before I came here, and then I started crying. But yeah, JJ's saying this is going to tie into the prequels, the original trilogy, and the new trilogy. It's going to wrap up the entire storyline. At least that's what he's hoping to do and attempting to do. And JJ, I like JJ Abrams.
I do too.
Me too.
And so I'm looking forward to it. I haven't bought my tickets yet, but I will.
I got the tickets today. I just wanted to say real quick, how crazy is it in 2019 where you're just trying to sell a movie in any way possible, they don't show the Emperor?
I know.
Right.
That is nuts.
I don't think they have
Well,
to.
they kind of did.
I just love that about J.J. Abrams, how I guarantee you maybe every other director at the studio would have forced their hand. And I think he just has that clout and that. It's really awesome.
And just on a personal note, real quick, the reason it's
He's
so
on the poster though.
the reason it means so much to me is like this is the movie in 1977. I was like, I'm old enough to remember when it came out. I was a little kid. My mom and dad took me to this, and I remember for my entire life, my mom and dad. This has been a movie that we've watched together. And I remember my dad. We watched it on HBO one time. He just turned to me and goes, "Now they don't make movies like that anymore. That's a good movie." And so for our whole lives, for like every Christmas now for the past so many years, it's always a Star Wars film coming out. It's a family affair. So this has been. It's very special to me just because of what it represents in my family.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the reason I moved to Hollywood. So.
There you go.
Cry.
I'm gonna cry right now.
Cry.
Star Wars will always be my number one. That being said, we have a couple more months of Star Wars foaming at the mouth to deal with. Well, we're foaming at the mouth for Star Wars. Moving on, let's take a slight, the smaller of our 2 retrospectives of the night. I went to an event a couple weeks ago called Wasteland Weekend. If you're not familiar with it, here's the breakdown from Wasteland Weekend's website. Join thousands of attendees coming from all over the United States and beyond to gather in the Southern California desert for a 5-day post-apocalyptic festival. Set up camp at our Wasteland compound surrounded by specially built sets. Costumes are required and post-apocalyptic campsites and vehicles are encouraged. Live for 5 days in a world pulled straight out of the Mad Max movies and other post-apocalyptic films and video games. Beyond the grip of so-called civilization, amazing bands and DJs from all over the world will provide the soundtrack. Fire dancers and bonfires will light up the night, and modified vehicles will shake the earth with their engines. Don't miss it. This is an adults-only event. It's 18 and over. Live bands and top DJs from California, Nevada, Arizona, and beyond. Combat performers, fire dancers, wasteland burlesque, post-apocalyptic style sideshow, and circus acts, and more. An armada of post-apocalyptic vehicles driven from all over the country. Wasteland merchants vending their wares and services in Bartertown. Jugger, the post-apocalyptic blood sport of the future. Vehicle cruises, themed games, contests, and activities. Our own movie theater and Wasteland Film Festival.
Really?
So yeah,
That's cool.
Oh yeah,
He's been
So-
going
Yeah,
through
and he's been
some.
showing some of the
Yeah,
photos.
so
from the
what we're
event.
looking at right now, so that's the stage. All of these photos, except for about 2 of them, this one was not, but the gentleman in the foreground there is my friend David Scher, who took most of the photos that I'm showing tonight. His Wasteland name is Hole Wrecker. He got that name because he was... He got that name because he was going around wrecking ant holes to prevent them from crawling into our camp. So we're like, your name is now Hole Wrecker.
So much better than what I thought.
We're gonna let
Yeah.
we're gonna let people decide what that means. This is a photograph of one of the winners of our fancy top hat and parasol contest. This man made his top hat out of tin cans and bicycle tires.
I love it.
This is a picture of Brianna and myself getting married in our Wasteland wedding.
Oh,
Brianna,
fantastic.
Wow.
Nice.
That is awesome.
thank you. Brianna and I, this is in the hills overlooking Wasteland City. You can kind of see it in the background. And we got married in real life back in May, and we decided we wanted to have a Wasteland wedding. This was my 4th year attending and her 3rd year. And this is a picture of the Atomic Cafe, which is from the Atomic Cafe itself as a kind of a concept comes from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. This is a bar that serves up free liquor in the evenings and all night.
How much is that liquor?
Free.
Get out of town.
Free liquor. Part of the legality.
The design
of
of that's
it,
really cool too.
Yeah, it's actually made of leftover parts that they stole from Burning Man camps.
There you go.
Yeah, Wasteland Weekend, this was the 10th year that they had this. And it was actually kind of developed out of a group of burners, Burning Man folks, who got together and they wanted to just take their favorite parts of Burning Man and put that into a festival without all of the psychedelic drugs and all that kind of stuff. So what I oftentimes compare it to is people call it Burning Man for nerds. I call it more of like a post-apocalyptic Renaissance fair. Where everybody's in theme, they're in costume. You can buy things, you can trade and barter things. There's food, there's drink, there's music, there's dancing, there's all sorts of themed things. We went into there was a saloon that was made called the Rabid Stag, and they had two-headed rabid stag heads on the wall. Like, it was just insane. It's all like nuclear deformities and all this kind of stuff. Part of the set pieces that they've had there that is now they retired it this year was a set piece from Waterworld that was basically a grounded ship essentially in the middle of the desert, but it's fallen into such disrepair that they've decided to retire.
You mean
it
from
this
the
year.
film?
From the film Waterworld. It was a set piece from the film Waterworld, and it was a grounded boat, and they used it to host like the kind of the house the house kind of trance music dance area. The DJ would be up there and people would dance around. They'd have go-go dancers. But yeah, like I said, there's a main stage. Bands come out and play. There's a Thunderdome. If you've seen the movie Beyond Thunderdome, it's very similar. They the same crew that sets up the Thunderdome at Wasteland does it at Burning Man. It's literally a big dome like in the movie, and they suspend you from bungee cables, and they give you a Nerf bat, and they just shove you in there against each other, and you beat the hell out of each other. You have to sign a waiver.
Can I ask you a question? Like, do a lot of these people also go to Burning Man?
There's quite a bit of crossover, as I understand it, of people that go to Burning Man, but they also understand these are two pretty different events. This one is much more about the theme and the immersiveness and just kind of having a good time and being creative and coming up with your character and your costume and all that kind of stuff.
I think I'd enjoy this one more than Burning Man.
Yeah.
It definitely it definitely reaches out more to the creative and the nerdy and the geeky and those people like us that love movies like Mad Max
And dressing up and kind of becoming characters.
Exactly.
I always
walking around.
like hear the stories, and I'm like, oh my god, that would be so fun. And then I'm like, I don't want to live in the desert for 5 days.
You also have to live in the desert and not shower for 5 days and
no.
use a porta-john.
Nope.
And you're sharing your porta-johns with,
Nope.
3,000 to 5,000 other people.
That's not much different
no.
than going to the wine festival.
True,
that we
true.
just got back from.
Couple of really quick things I want to run down for you. Bounty hunting. It's a blast out at Wasteland. Basically, what they do is there's a tribe called the Rust Devils, and they facilitate this bounty hunting game, essentially. They changed it up a little bit. This year, what they had you do is they provided you with a layout, and you had to take your own picture, print off a wanted poster or a handful of wanted posters. You take those to the Rust Devils, they staple it up on the wall. Once your poster is up, you can take somebody else's poster, and you have to go around Wasteland looking for that person. That's your bounty that you're hunting. When you find them, you can do whatever kind of theatrics you want to, but ultimately it comes down to you have to have a game. Traditionally, it's rock, paper, scissors. Something that has a clear winner and a clear loser, and you Rochambeau. Whoever wins, if you're the hunter and you beat the hunted person, if you beat your bounty, then they have to give you some sort of memento, some sort of token, some sort of prize for finding them. If you lose, then they keep whatever they want, and you have to separate, and you can't hunt them for another, I think it's until the next day, basically. And it's a great way to come up with creative ways to have a game, but as also to create something to give out to the person that finds you, and to just meet people and get to know somebody from British Columbia or something like that.
Ryan's reaction to your story was phenomenal.
This just sounds amazing. I think this is such a creative idea, and that
It's a blast.
it's a Mad Max Burning Man.
Yeah,
Pretty
It's
much.
so much fun.
You thought Comic-Con was fun.
I'm hoping Ben's gonna drag us all out there because I'm up. I'm
Oh,
up for it.
Oh, I will drag
dirty
you out
gym?
there.
I don't know
Now
about
the one problem.
I do know this problem. It's a big one.
The one problem is that next year, Wasteland Weekend and Los Angeles Comic Con fall on the same dates. Whose idea was this?
Convention Center.
The LA Convention Center.
That's
You guys.
That's a
I think
toss
they
up.
need to fight each other
I know.
in the Wasteland.
Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Go fight it out.
One con enters. No, two cons enter. One con leaves. And speaking of LA Comic Con, wait, do we need to go to the bulletin board
Let's
first?
do the bulletin board.
Let's
But
let's
I
clear
have a
out-
quick question about
I
this
do
kind of
too.
stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think like eventually with the way like fandom is going that like people actually create these societies living more than just 3 days where they could just go off and spend a month?
we going
like,
that direction?
Are we going a direction where like people create universes that are kind of like
I mean, we do it. We do it now. Look at, people who go to Scum and Villainy every day, and they're kind of living in that world. So I think it's probably becoming more and more prevalent.
For those of you who don't know, Scum and Villainy is a local Hollywood bar that's Star Wars and kind of science fiction and geek themed. That actually a lot of people I know
I love
frequent
it.
a lot.
Everybody hangs out there.
And it's a pretty cool place. I don't go there too often because I don't want to get burnt out on it, to be
Yeah.
honest. But some people, that's their cheers. You know, that's like they're going there every night.
Sure.
The other thing that I would say to that is this used to start on Thursday. I think it was Thursday and go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Or it could have started on Friday and it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then they extended to Thursday. Now it starts on Wednesday. And I even went out on Monday afternoon this year to help set up our camp, the big dome that I showed you up there earlier, which was camp. My tribe is called...
Wait. For those of you who are listening and you might not want to hear a bad word, we're giving you a 10-second warning right now. 5 second.
5-second warning.
Earmuffs.
There is a lot of profanity out at Wasteland Weekend, and it's kind of part of the... Giving the finger is a friendly greeting at Wasteland Weekend. So it's...
As well it should be.
If that kind of gauges the environment for you. But it's all very positive, all very accepting.
that was my
But-
grandparents' love language. They gave each other the finger.
Exactly.
I'm not even kidding.
Nice. That's amazing. They would have fit right in
Yeah.
at Wasteland Weekend. But our tribe, and you collect in tribes and have camps, but our tribe was called the Fancy Fucks of Camp Eat the Rich. The story behind it was that after the bombs dropped and the nuclear apocalypse happened, we went out and we wanted to preserve some sort of high class in this new world, in this new post-apocalyptic wasteland. And so that's why we hold the fancy top hat and parasol contest. And I drank my coffee every morning out of a mismatched teacup set. And my character is named...
Yeah.
My character at Wasteland is named the Dutchman.
What's that mean?
Well, it's kind of from my real life family history. I come from a German Mennonite area of Kansas, and we kind of refer to everybody as being Dutch, even though it's not technically Dutch. But so I'm the Dutchman. I'm a bounty hunter and a gambler, and Brianna, my wife, calls herself the Duchess, spelled with a T. Dutchess. So we have fun with that.
The thing is so intriguing about this, and I know we do have to move on, but I love the way you come up with a story behind your character, a story behind your tribe, your group, your clan, and then it's so much storytelling.
Oh,
that's
it's
so
a
intriguing
ton
to me.
of
Yeah.
storytelling.
I love that.
Yeah. It's my goal, and my friend Lonnie, who's been going to Wasteland for many, many years, probably since within the first couple of years that it started. I don't know if he's been there since the first year or not. He might have been, but his character, he came up with a new character now because he's been going for so long, but he's a kind of an Old West minister that goes by the name of Father Rebar. And he actually performed the wedding ceremony for Brianna and I. But he's been steeped in the bounty hunting and the warring factions and the lore of Wasteland, because it's a lot of role-playing game type stuff that they come up with all these stories and backgrounds and storylines between each other. And so he's like, I'm bringing you in on this. I'm like, you know, they want I want to desperately get in on like this bounty hunting and like all this legend that takes place with Wasteland. So I'm super excited about it. So
I have to interject for just a second.
interject away.
We want to cast a spotlight for just a second on Ben, because Cheeseman, can you hold up what you have here, and if we can take a look at Cheeseman on the couch. Wait, stop moving around. So this right here is a poster. We went to a very special screening of a movie that Ben is the star in, and it's. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so two of my colleagues and I have started a family. Really, it is a family, but I misspoke. Started a production company called Jasmine Street Films. My friends Tom Sias and Mike Joe. And the three of us got together, and Tom is a writer and wrote this wonderful script called Charles Jensen. And the three of us were going to produce it. We ended up pulling in friend of the show, Kaylin Ashley, who came in and helped us produce it because she had a little bit more experience doing that. And we knew her and trusted her and wanted her expertise to help guide us. So we brought her in on that. And it's a short film. It's kind of a dramatic thriller, I guess you could say. And it's about an artist who's had success, who's now struggling with kind of an artist's block, and the only way he can get it out is by going out and running. And I have arthritic knees, and I had to play this character that was running a lot.
We could have sworn it was a body double, but it wasn't.
Wait, why could you have sworn it was a body double?
Because you kept on saying I have arthritis in my knees.
I do.
And you were running like miles in this thing.
Yeah.
Seth Rogen did all of his running.
There you go. Exactly.
That's so great.
But the character of Charles Jensen then ends up seeing this prowler kind of breaking into houses in his neighborhood, and that kind of becomes his muse, is almost becoming a vigilante and chasing this guy down, and so on and so forth. And the story goes.
It has a great outcome.
And it will. I just talked to the guys this afternoon. We are going to be posting it online. So
fantastic.
The next time I'm on the show, I'll let you guys know where you can find that, and we can put it up on the website as well.
Yes,
or a link to it is from the website, if that's okay with you guys.
It's your website as well. Of course we will. And then also you can't talk a lot about it. You have a secret kind of cool piece of information that.
Oh yeah. I had to. My wife and I had to cancel and reschedule our honeymoon that we were taking.
That's how we found out about it.
6 months after our wedding, because and now our honeymoon is going to be on our 1-year anniversary, because I booked a small role in a movie for Warner Brothers that I'm shooting a little bit on this week, and then next month when we were going to be on our honeymoon. So thank you.
Congratulations. That's amazing. That's so great.
Yeah.
All right, well, you asked me to do the bulletin board. I
Yes.
will run through that really quickly. So here are some events that you guys can be checking out coming up. October 26th through the 27th, coming up real soon, the Maui Comic-Con. I wish I could go to the Maui Comic-Con.
Me too.
Maui, Hawaii.
I love Maui.
Same weekend, the 26th to the 27th of October, Virginia Comic-Con, it's at Richmond International Speedway in Richmond, Virginia. I remember talking about this last year. It's so unique that it's at a speedway. November 1 through 3, I like the name of this con. It's the Big Easy Con in New Orleans, Louisiana.
I believe it's pronounced Nolans.
In Nolans, Louisiana.
Somebody's going to shoot me for saying that, I feel like.
November 1 through 3, Rhode Island Con, Providence, Rhode Island. November 8th through the 10th, Grand Rapids Comic-Con in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And then November 16th through 17th is New England Super Mega Fest Comic-Con. Gosh, it's a long name. New England Super Mega Fest Comic-Con in Framingham, Massachusetts.
Or at least it's not called Beyond Fest.
Anyways, that's some of the cons.
Let's not go there, Ben.
Some of the cons coming up soon. We always think LA Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con kind of close out the con year, but
there are a number.
Does not seem like that's happening. All right.
And I do like seeing these cons around the country, but to turn our attention back locally, at least local for those of us here in the studio, since we shoot out of Los Angeles, technically Burbank. But anyway, it's Los Angeles.
Technically North Hollywood.
North Hollywood.
Is it North Hollywood?
North Hollywood, yeah.
Oh, we're on Burbank Boulevard. Don't come find us. Anyway.
Yeah, given the location.
Don't come here. It's shady, shady, shady.
Yeah. There's all kinds of people with sharp sticks
LA Comic Con.
LA Comic Con. Amanda, thank you so much for being with us tonight. And Ryan, is this how much time we've got left for the show?
This is how much time you
Yes,
got left
sir.
for the
We're
show.
golden. We've got plenty of time to talk about this. I'm so happy. Amanda, thank you so much again for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You're very, very welcome. And it's a delight and a pleasure to talk to you as always. And thanks for being here. So anyway, I imagine there's a lot of stress that happens leading, especially for somebody in your professional position.
How many bottles of whiskey do you go through?
Yeah.
None. I don't drink whiskey.
All of them.
All of them.
Now that the convention is over, and you've had some time, you've had like, what, a week to kind of step back.
Sure, we'll call it a week.
Ish.
Couple days.
What are some of your takeaways from the event this year? What are some of the positives, if you want to, some of the negatives? What can you tell us about your experience this year?
I mean, I don't think you can ever be too prepared. You know, I head into my load-in on Wednesday wishing that I had another week and another month to kind of do everything. That being said, I think that what we did this year was amazing, and I'm so proud of my whole team for everything. I mean, it was our biggest attendance ever.
How many?
It was 123,400.
Amazing.
Amazing. Which is awesome. So yeah, I mean, the only hope is bigger and better.
Absolutely. Now, compared to Jim, how many badges does San Diego Comic-Con sell?
I think they say they're around 135 is what we always hear 140,000 is the number of people who attend San Diego Comic-Con, but as far as badges that are sold is 135,000, I think.
That's hard though, because San Diego Comic-Con, and because of the way that everything's laid out, doesn't really have a quantifiable number because all of those offsites are happening, and there's
Right.
people who just go down there for the offsites,
Right.
which
Yeah.
are still part of the experience of San Diego Comic-Con. It's
true.
But I hear something like 350 to 400,000 people descend on the city.
That's not hard to believe
Wow.
if you've ever been down there during San Diego Comic-Con.
Which I have.
Because
I saw you this year
Yeah.
at one of those parties.
Yeah.
Same.
Oh yeah, that's right. We all hung out the same night. That
Yeah.
was awesome.
Well, I
And-
was working those parties.
right.
You were always working. Always having a
Yeah.
good time.
Surprise.
Yay.
Yeah, that's insane. But for 123,000 plus to be attending Los Angeles Comic-Con, which is in the long run relatively young, I think.
Ninth year. This was the ninth
The
year.
ninth year, so it's less than 10 years
Yeah.
old.
San Diego Comic Con this year was 50th year. So that
Right.
put that in perspective.
Yeah.
So for that to be the case, that's pretty incredible to be within, let's say, within 10% of the badge sales, at least, of the technical badge sales of San Diego. How many does New York do? Do you know?
New York
Their
Comic-Con,
numbers are always fudgy, though.
It's kind of like what you were
250.
mentioning. Yeah, that's what they say. But like they count their numbers differently than how San Diego counts them. Like San Diego, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you guys are in the business. Like it's like they count badge sales
By day, right?
Oh no, New York counts them by day and adds them together, whereas
Right.
San Diego counts the full weekend.
Right.
Like if you have a 4-day, that's one, whereas in New York a 4-day is four.
Yeah, I have no idea.
So
I
it's,
think is how they count it. Yeah.
So New York has like 5 people attending.
No,
is
they're
what you're
huge.
saying.
They're massive. New York Comic Con is massive.
It is.
But
Just
I
divide
would
the number
venture.
Well,
by
I've
4.
never been.
I would venture that like this year in Los Angeles, it felt probably like New York Comic Con.
It felt really. I did not go into the convention center on Saturday. I talked to a lot of people
It was
that were
nuts.
like, it was insane.
Okay, I do have to say one thing. Although it was amazing, that line on Saturday, holy crap! Outside, it was a mile long.
I was
they moved
surprised.
it, but they
Yeah.
moved it fast.
We worked really hard to get that through as fast as possible. We introduced metal detectors this year just because of the current climate. We take our security very, very seriously.
better safe. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it did lead to some line control problems. Which
it's a con.
It is, but we've always kind of prided ourselves on the fact that we're really good at moving our lines. So we're gonna, make a huge effort to control that for next year and not have people waiting in those kinds of lines. So
I don't know. When I got inside, I didn't hear a lot of people complaining about it though. That was gone.
There weren't, but it's a personal thing for us. We don't want people standing outside in line.
Right.
We want people inside our convention on our floor and experiencing what we've got going on for them. So.
But can we
There
just
was a lot of traffic on the floor.
Gosh, it was so
And there
much.
was some-
Like, it reminded me more like Comic-Con. I mean, it wasn't like Comic-Con where it's like very hard to maneuver, but I was surprised how much the numbers increased.
There
on
were
the floor
parts.
this year.
There were
Yeah.
parts when you're shoulder to shoulder,
yeah.
face to armpit going through. But
There was so much cool stuff to do.
It was
really
awesome.
short.
It
Yeah.
was awesome. I'm a short guy, so
Face to armpit.
I'm sure too.
no, but like we were even like we were talking to some like a friend. He's a comic book creator, and he wasn't there this year, and he wrote back and he goes, he felt as if he missed out on something huge that happened this year, and we're like, yeah, you really did.
Yeah, I think the level of talent that we brought in and, the experiences that were on our show floor, I mean, everything from having the set from Jay and Silent Bob with Kevin and Jason in attendance, for everybody who grew up with Clerks was enormous. And Bernie's Ex-Levelant team did incredible photo op in the corner. And Peterson Automotive Museum and our friends over at Fonco Studios brought in the mini Friends set. And we filled it with kittens
That was so
on
cool.
Saturday. And it was awesome. And there was just a ton of people standing around watching these kittens destroy Rachel's apartment.
I'll be there for Mew.
Hey Ryan, feel free to run the slides from LA Comic Con.
absolutely.
Oh, no worries. Yeah.
The new Air Force asset was unbelievable for those people that got to experience it. It was a 4D flight simulator that I got to sneak in on
wow.
on Thursday before everything was up. Was super cool.
That's cool.
And there really was just like everywhere you looked, there was something cool happening, and someone doing something, and some cool cosplayer, and it was a lot.
And you got the legend Tommy Wiseau.
Oh my goodness.
And we'll talk about that just
my
one
goodness.
second.
We're showing some slides of cosplay and other things at the event. This is actually from the Power Rangers
Yep.
panel. Here's more cosplay. There's a what's her name?
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka.
Yep.
That's her name.
We have such a great level of cosplay at our show, and we had such a great, incredibly diverse group of cosplayers with us this year, so it was pretty cool.
And you guys had 2 different cosplay competitions?
We had three different cosplay
That's right.
competitions. Yeah, we had our annual National Cosplay Championship that was sponsored by Disney's Maleficent.
Fantastic.
So it was our regular, cosplay championship with a special
There's Bernie.
Maleficent, with a special Maleficent category. We had our kids cosplay contest that we do every year, and then this year added was the Jim Henson Creature Workshop Cosplay Challenge. For
right.
Dark Crystal.
That's
Which was
fantastic.
super cool. If you got to see those costumes, they were really, really incredible.
And there's me.
Oh,
and
there's
my hoodie.
Luke.
And there's Luke in his hoodie. We will come back
I bought that, but I didn't get it yet. Did you end up buying it?
No, I didn't end up ordering it. I was like, it's really cool and I like it, but I don't think I'm gonna wear it that much, so I didn't want to.
You saw me in it, and then you're just like.
I was
yeah,
like, oh, Luke's already got it. Never mind.
One of my favorite.
We can't go to the same parties anymore, right?
One of my favorite parts of this convention, and it's
that's a good
some
blade.
weird happenstance that occurs every year, is these pop-up dance parties in our lobby.
Doggone it, I didn't have time. I have a video of one of those. I was trying to upload it, but
It's just
Oh,
they're
yeah.
so funny and they're so random, and you kind of just you're either there or you're not.
there was a really cool one. I was trying to put it on the end of this video here, but I was a little bit stressed for time, so we couldn't get it in. And it was super great. It was like the Deadpools were leading a dance party
Yeah.
and getting
Nice.
everybody together. It was
Yeah.
great.
And I love all the little kids, and there's always one little Stan Lee running around, which is super cute. And our Stan Lee walls, I don't know if you guys got to see those. We had put up some memorial walls for people to write on. We put up a new one every day, and they are full, and just these beautiful, inspiring messages of love and thanks for our Generalissimo.
I was impressed with the panel list. Like, it was a pretty robust panel list. Like, I was so. You
Our
guys,
main stage or our other ones?
No, all of them.
Yeah.
Like for example, I was in this one panel on, was it Sunday or Saturday, about the future of horror. Mm-hmm. Fantastic panel, and we're gonna get some guys on the show from that panel. But it was going on the same exact time, I think, as Felicia Day
And Jonah Ray.
and Jonah Ray were down on the main stage, and I wanted to run down to that, but I couldn't get down to that. No, it was during the Drake Bell panel.
Oh, wait, what?
Ryan, did you see?
I did. I saw some of the video. I actually wanted to ask. You mentioned this year it's the guests. The guests were so much bigger. Do you think that's because of the years past success that you were able to get more guests this year?
Partially, I think my team, and one of the great things about my team is that we're all nerds. Everybody's kind of got their their niche, but the reality is we're all nerds, and everybody is tapped in and tuned in to what's going on, and we listen to what our guests want, and we kind of go based on that. But being able to build the show kind of from the inside out, what we want to see, which translates into what our guests want to see, really is kind of an aid. We try to go with what's current and what's popular, like bringing in Gabriel Iglesias to do Mr. Iglesias, which is a relatively new show on Netflix, and Eddie Firth with Historical Roast, which is also new, like Dark Crystal is also new. Mm-hmm. But then, we love going retro, so bringing back, SpongeBob and the X-Men, the animated series stuff was super cool.
Speaking of retro, can we show the Tommy Wiseau video? Can
you just give me some? I'm curious. Like, did you guys go to a panel? Like, what was the?
What's the background?
Oh, let me tell you this. Like, Tommy Wiseau. Can you tell us what happened? It was fantastic. Tommy Wiseau hosted a screening of The Room, but then right before he had a Q&A where he just walked around the room and.
He did the best Q&A. He just he knows himself as a person and a character.
I'm
glad
just somebody
had
does.
fun, and then he was just messing with people. Like they'd be are you gonna say something? Get to it. Come on. Like he'd joke back with the people and all that, and then he'd be like, you're late. What's your question? And he would just ask. Just go around.
You're late. Now we got to start all over. Okay.
That
what
sounds
a weird
like
dude.
That sounds like Tommy. Yeah. Last year he stopped one of my friends who had it's easy to meet people underneath the aisle signs, and so she had stopped to wait for somebody, and he looked at her and went, "Do you read?"
Why?
Well, here we go.
And then he just ran off.
Special screening and why? Do you guys enjoy yourself? Okay, I want to dedicate the screening for a special person. You know who created this event? Somebody guess who created. Who was the first one who created this event?
It's not true.
Huh? Yes. So we want to dedicate the screen to him. Can everybody stand out maybe for 5 seconds if you don't mind? Yes. And
Is he even facing the camera?
It's hard to tell.
He was just standing in the darkest areas of the room.
It looks like he's facing the screen.
I know it looks like the back of his head.
Thank you very much.
But he did 5 minutes of silence for Stanley.
Oh, Tommy.
We think it was Stanley. We think.
But anyway,
Stanley.
guys, Q&A. Thank you for coming again, and hope you enjoyed the room. And any question here? We go one by one.
When you were at the Oscars,
Yes. Golden Globe. Yes.
were you mad that James Franco didn't let you speak?
I was not mad. Tommy is never mad, but I was shocked.
He goes into this weird thing of sometimes he refers to himself in the third person and sometimes he doesn't.
I know.
It's what it is, you know what I'm saying? So, move on, next question.
My question is, if Johnny from The Room existed in the Marvel Universe, what
God.
would his superpower be and why?
Oh, God.
It's a good one. Secret power will be vampire, for sure.
Is that a superpower?
He considers it a superpower. Yeah.
Somebody told me today that I'm younger. Maybe it's something there. Maybe you're right. Move on.
I love that guy.
Oh my God.
The whole background on him is people are nobody knows where he came from. He just showed up with money one day, basically, in order to make a movie.
He just would say, it
he
doesn't
talked about
matter,
that, too.
who cares?
Yeah, he sounds slightly Eastern European.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
With a touch of German almost.
Bulgarian, Slovenian, something like that, yeah.
What did he say? Someone said, so Tommy, what kind of car are you driving? What did he say? He goes, I'm not going to tell you. They say I have so much money. It was so great. And someone says, how old are you, Tommy? Nobody cares. Go sit down.
No one cares.
He is the character.
Doesn't matter.
But it was packed. And then his booth down on the floor just had lines of people trying to get to it.
Well, he sells stuff for pretty cheap.
Yeah,
And he'll be
did you
like,
see
comes
the,
with a movie,
Tommy
you meet
Wiseau
me,
underwear?
autograph.
I know.
And
Yeah.
I have a pair. I bought it just so he would sign it.
You have a pair of what?
Tommy Wiseau underwear?
hanging.
You're wearing them
He's
right
wearing
now.
them right now. He's not wearing pants, just to tell me.
But anyways, that's enough about Tommy.
Jim is pantsless under this desk, ladies and
There
gentlemen.
is another panel that occurred on that day that was the hallmark
I
of
heard
the
this
day.
was the best panel.
The best panel of the
the
weekend.
It was a lot of fun.
This was
We're a little bit biased.
the highest attended panel. I got these numbers from Sean Spicer. This was the highest attended panel of any comic book convention panel ever, period. I moderated the Power Rangers panel for the con guy.
And it was fantastic.
We might have had, how many people do you think we had? Maybe 50?
Oh, for crying out loud. Cameron counted 70.
Yeah, it was at
70?
least 70. It
I
may have
was
been
being
like towards
conservative.
100 at the end. There were a lot of people.
Towards the end, it got a lot bigger. And
The problem was the Pokemon was there right after, and I think a lot of the people were waiting in line.
we
for
are going to
that one,
campaign
and maybe some of the
heavily
same fandom.
for allowing people from, like, Pokemon people wanted to come in, but they found out they had to leave, so they wouldn't come in. So I know that most cons do clear the rooms, and that's for whatever reasons. Let them come in. Just ours. Anyways, but we have a little clip of Ben and his Power Rangers.
Me and the Power Rangers, which were all dudes. Unfortunately, we had some ladies on the panel, but then for contract reasons they couldn't be on the panel. So it was like a weird deal. But
yeah, and just different people weren't available, so we had to keep kind of changing.
yeah,
our
we had
list,
to keep
but-
like shuffling people around.
The
because of
current
availability.
year of Power Rangers, we had some that were going to come on, but because of their contracts with Hasbro, they did have to cancel.
Yeah,
but,
unfortunately.
But they will come back.
But the crew that we had on were a blast to work with. But here's a video clip.
Yeah.
My name is Moses. I know you guys are all from different Power Ranger series, but what was your guys' favorite episode shooting?
Mine was called Never Give Up, and it's just my favorite because it was about me.
Man is honest.
Yeah, there was this friendship episode where we got to literally the whole day was like wake up, go to what do you call the dunes? Like the dunes that you have in New Zealand? Yeah, and we just had to like we had to do a friendship episode where we're having so much fun and friends, and then this monster comes and cuts our friendship bonds, right? So we're like, well, to establish friendship, we're gonna be dune boogieing like all day long, and then like they had a Jeep for us, so as soon as we got to the bottom, we jump on the Jeep and then we drive all the way up to the top. So that was like an amazing day. And they're like, all right, that's a wrap, thank you. And we're like, wow.
Didn't even feel like work that
That
day.
wasn't, no, it wasn't.
That's so cool.
My favorite day was in the dunes as well. It was when it was like an episode where it was like also like my episode. So I think you just like it more because you get to do a whole bunch of crazy fun stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was about my home planet getting destroyed. So it was lots of like explosions. I actually got to do some stunts and I did them reasonably well. So it was kind of like also personal achievements. But yeah, it was fun to just like have things be blown up and roll around in the dirt and scream and cry.
It's funny, my homeworld was on the dunes.
Wow.
My homeworld got destroyed on the dunes. Oh. Did some stunts on the dunes.
I'm you.
Everybody loves the dunes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dunes are the best.
Yeah, it's just, you can do so much stuff on the dunes and not get hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it literally like sand?
It's just big, giant, soft sand.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. And scorpions.
No.
Actually,
I love Cam. Yeah. He's a delight.
I just
love
need
that
to
guy.
say that our logo looks so cool this year.
It does.
It did.
I like it, and I like that you guys have stuck with that octopus logo. You've had that for a long time.
No,
now.
that guy's new.
But I mean the octopus in general.
In general, yeah.
But it looks so much better now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah, the
I
new
loved
logos
it.
are
I loved
great.
it so much. I actually permanently added it to my body.
We can
Why don't you show us your
that.
finger?
So I as part of my pet project for LA Comic Con this year, I brought in a bunch of tattoo artists from different shops around California, and on Sunday afternoon I had one of them tattoo our tentacle on my finger.
That is awesome.
She's got a tentacle on her finger.
It was painful. That's what it was. But yeah. So.
How many
That's so
people
awesome.
have been? I mean, I think there are tattoo conventions. I was just gonna say,
yeah.
how many people have been tattooed in a convention center?
You
But
know,
I suppose a lot.
It's
I don't know.
actually really common thread at Comic Cons, which is kind of where I got the idea from. And then I went down to the LA Tattoo Convention and convinced a group of people to come to the show, and they had a great show. they were really happy.
A lot of people were over there getting tattoos.
Yeah, it was packed all weekend.
That's awesome.
I think one of the guys was doing piercings too. So a couple of my staff got tattooed. I think one guy got an earring done. But yeah, it was busy all weekend.
Was it a requirement for your staff to get tattooed
no,
at the convention?
Not at all. But no, yeah, they they had a minimum and they were booking appointments throughout the weekend and yeah.
That's awesome.
It was kind of a cool little addition to our show.
Nice.
Can I ask a quick question?
No.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead. I'm joking.
Oh, brilliant. So, Amanda, I just wanted to ask, what was the most difficult part of planning this event? Like, what was the thing that you were most nervous about that you're very, that's probably, people don't even think about it.
The con guys.
Booth placement.
Booth placement?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like the most insane, psychotic game of Tetris, which I happen to be very bad at. But I learned how to use AutoCAD for this job, and I do all the booth placement and kind of trying to figure out how to fit all those vendors on the floor in places that they want to be, where there's going to be traffic, while also keeping them kind of grouped in categories. And keeping, the floor diverse enough is not an easy undertaking.
Were there major surprises that you remember from the con?
From booth placement?
I think just in general from the entire event.
Yeah, we did have one big surprise, which was the cast of Zombieland showing up.
That's
wow.
a good surprise.
We had a Zombieland panel planned with the writer and director, and Rosario Dawson and Jesse Eisenberg and Abigail Breslin came and hung out, and then a select group of people were actually walked from the convention over to the Regal at LA Live for screening.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was super cool, and I think people were a little shocked by that one. Having K-Rock streaming was really cool, and I witnessed possibly one of the funniest things I've ever seen, which was a particular celebrity walking up on the K-Rock stage, and Stryker and Klein were broadcasting live, and Stryker looked at the celebrity and went, I know you from somewhere. I just can't remember where I know you from. And the celebrity in question was DMC. So I think everybody was a little dumbfounded. But yeah, I mean, overall, great show, and I'm glad it's over.
Until next year.
But Ben, what were some of your favorite memories of the con?
Oh man, I like I said, I wasn't there on Friday or Saturday. I was only there on Sunday, so I wasn't able to absorb as much. I really wanted to get there on Saturday. I got held up at work because I worked Saturday morning, and I was supposed to be Jay to my buddy John Carlos's Silent Bob, and I'm like,
Senior Jay, it's pretty fantastic.
Thank you very much. But I'm texting him. I'm like, dude, I'm not.
Can
gonna
we say that on here? Okay.
What?
Never mind. That's a dumb joke.
Oh.
I'm like texting on Saturday. I'm like texting my buddy John Carlos, and I'm like, hey man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it. How late are you staying? And he's like, I'm only gonna be here till like 6. And I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna get there. And I'm like, wait, are you Bob and you're without a J? And he sends me a selfie of him and Jay Muse, and he's like, I think I got it taken care of. Like on the quick stop.
But I did see you
facade.
at the party, Ben.
I was at Ready Party 1 afterwards.
Which was, I mean,
how was the party?
I mean, I was only there for an hour and a half, but in true Bernie fashion, and ex-Levelant fashion, I guess as the case is now, it was pretty lit from what I hear. There was lasers and foam and the cast of, or two of the cast members from the classic 1990s Nickelodeon show Salute Your Shorts got on stage and sang the Camp Anawana song.
Oh my God.
That's pretty cool.
And Gigi Edgley was there, and Bonnie Gordon from the Library Bars was there performing with Flux. So it was pretty cool.
Flux was there?
Yeah, I saw-
Flux is the
Oh,
resident.
man.
He's the resident band.
I saw the Flux capacitors with Gigi and with Bonnie. I did not see the foam.
I didn't see the phone either. It was gone by then.
But it was, as you say, lit. It was quite the spectacle of a party. It was a lot of fun.
I missed the party, but I did see the Office reunion on the main stage, which was one of the coolest things I've ever seen at a con. Like, they keep dancing out, and there was more energy on that stage than I expected.
I'm not an Office fan, and I got to be honest, I missed most of Saturday's programming because I was dealing with other things.
You were working?
I was working, yeah. I try to tune into things that I'm super interested. I did get to see the Gabriel Iglesias panel, which was really cool. But that was about it.
I do like the show Mr. Iglesias.
Yeah, it's
really
pretty
cute.
fantastic if you haven't watched it.
And I do have to give you props give the convention props. The cosplay was off the charts.
Yeah.
Like the one thing that I love about this convention is when you go into the lobby and you have that giant lobby full of cosplay coming up and down the escalators. That's one of the coolest sights, and just standing there and looking around, it was so great.
I mean, our cosplay contest too has some really unbelievable talent showing up, and even one of our judges, Rhapsody, had created her. I mean, she built her own dress from Labyrinth, which was stunning, and I know she was super, super proud of it.
Rhapsody's great. I love her.
The dress was incredible, but I mean, the level of cosplay that came through our kids' costume contest, through our regular annual national championship, and through the Dark Crystal contest. I mean, it's just amazing what people can do. I can't sew.
Now, on that note, we're getting ready to sign off here in just a moment, but we already saw what Amanda got at the con, her finger tattoo. What did you pick up at the con that you're proud of, Jim?
I did get a couple comic books. I did not bring them tonight, but from Tony Kim,
Hero Within.
Hero Within. I was about to say, what's the second word? Within. Hero Within. I couldn't. Anyways, I got this cool Batman-styled shirt.
Turn around. Like, there's a little actual...
Let me see if I can do this. Let me see if I can just do it without...
There's like a little...
There's a bat logo on there. There you go.
Cool
Nice.
And it's on the pockets a little
They
bit.
do really cool, like, subtle...
Very
I love
subtle.
that. I can wear this to work.
How about you, Cheese? What did you pick up at the con?
Well, you saw earlier I got the Batman hoodie, which I'll be getting in November. They did a pre-order, gave you free shipping if you got it at the convention.
They sold out completely.
Yeah. Oh, did they?
That's the reason that, you couldn't pick it up at the convention.
And then I got this nice Cobra Kai shirt that I'm wearing right now.
Cool.
And one of my favorite panels besides the Power Rangers panel was the Jay and Silent Bob one. Those guys are so much fun. And like it was cool just hearing how their friendship started because Jason was at this like youth center that Kevin like volunteered at, and then these like adults were kind of like mentoring these kids, and then they just thought this kid was funny, and then they started kind of bringing him around, like, why are you bringing this kid around? It's like, well, he's funny. All the friends, like, because you do all the schnoogans and talk like that, and then eventually like his friends stopped kind of like hanging out with him, and then all of a sudden he just shows up at Kevin Smith's house one day like, what are we doing? He's like, you and me aren't friends. And he's like, what are we doing, bro? Come on. And then like they became really close friends after that because his friends originally were the close friends with him, and they did the youth center stuff. And
it's funny,
since they've been inseparable.
Brian O'Halloran was actually at the after party, hanging out upstairs.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the way Kevin and Jay, they actually came off the stage, the main stage afterwards, and went down to the set that you guys had.
And they put on their costumes.
And they were Jay and Silent Bob for all these photo ops.
And that's the real set piece, by the way.
Oh, it's fantastic.
That Legion M brought in for us, which was unbelievable to have.
That's amazing.
Anyways, I was impressed.
What'd you get, Ben?
I didn't personally get anything, although Brianna, my wife, did pick up a couple of dagger necklaces from Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Nice.
So that was pretty cool, too, and they were really cool. That is our show for tonight, folks. My name is Ben Cleaver. I've been your guest host for the evening. You can find me on all social media at BENKLIEWER. I mostly do Twitter and Instagram. To my left, Amanda, where can we find you on social media?
I pretty much mostly stick to Instagram, and I am Roland Yollin.
Roland Yollin. I always love it. I am all over social media at James D. Fry. Also follow us on the conguy.com, Twitter, and Instagram as well.
And I'm Cheeseman on the Couch. You can find me on Twitter at CheeseOnCouch and on theconguy.com. I mostly do a lot of the Instagram stuff, so say hello on there.
All right, thank you so much. We will be back. Jim, when are we going to be back next?
Well, we will be back next week as the Scare Guy for our very special annual Halloween episode. Woo-hoo! This is going to be a lot of fun, guys.
All right. Stay safe. Don't drink too much. And read comic books.
And nerd out. Nerd out.
Thank you so much for letting me
Thank
host
you,
tonight,
Ben.
guys.
Woo-hoo!
Good night.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.